Good afternoon, Blues. Everton have gone down by 1-0 against Fulham. How on earth did that happen? Well, it didn't happen very long ago, which is why I am angry and frustrated by what's happened before us today at Goodison Park. Certainly won't be the worst Everton performance you'll ever see, but we want to hear your reaction after the whistle. I just don't even know where to start. I feel so deflated. I just don't know. It's one of those things. You knew that once Everton didn't take those chances, that you could just see a smash and grab from Fulham. But the sheer amount of chances, you'll see Everton play much, much worse and possibly take all 3 points. Is that a consolation, Blues? Certainly want to hear from you. We still have a lot of fans coming out of Goodison, including members of our team. Hopefully we'll get them on. But certainly we did play well today, and yet we've got nothing to show. I just don't know where to really start. I suppose we'll backtrack and we'll go through the game. But if you have just joined us, I'm sure you know the result. The other games obviously have also finished. And if it's anything you're looking out for, Arsenal beat Forest by 2-1. Fulham obviously beating Everton. Bournemouth and West Ham drew 1-1. Brighton beat Luton 4-1. And Sheffield United went down by 1-0 against Crystal Palace. Of course, City won last night by 3 goals at Burnley. And the Newcastle Villa game is a 5:30 kickoff. But here we want to talk about Everton. Genuinely, we probably could have scored at least 4. And the big ones that I kind of want to really point out are the Iwobi chance at the beginning, which we'll go over. And then we had, I just don't understand the disallowed goal still. And then we had the Patterson hit crossbar and obviously the disallowed goal from Keane. Decore, at the beginning. So yeah, it's just absolutely perplexed by that. Was it the same old Everton? I don't think it was, because Everton seems to have a little bit more energy about them. We don't have that overhang of relegation at the start of the season. I think the fans were kind of wishing that the season didn't start, but it did. And of course, with McNeil, the notable absence, Everton played with new signing Ashley Young at left back, but had to start with Mopay up front, which meant that obviously there were a lot of moans and groans at Goodison Park around the time of the lineups. But then straight away we got going, and Mopay had a really good chance. He was sort of in the inside right position. He shot wide. It really was only inches by the post in the Park end, and that could have been the best possible start for a striker that has really struggled since he arrived at Goodison. And there was a lot of talk about him being sold, but with Calvert-Lewin out, Mopay went straight into that top position. Then we had just a minute later, really, Tarkowski clears really well. It was a nice cross from Fulham, but Tarkowski tidies up and it remains 0-0 only after a couple of minutes. Then Everton had a break. They basically had men over in the break. Decore is through on goal, right down centre as well. And the keeper makes a save with his outstretched arm, but it should have been a goal. I mean, you have to take the chances, don't you? The Premier League, you're getting a golden chance. You break away. You got men over. Maybe Iwobi. What do you think? Should he have played Garner in? I mean, it's easy to say then. Sorry, Decore had the chance. Iwobi had the break, but Decore had the chance right in the middle. Should he have played Garner in? Certainly thinks it would have been an easier chance, but it was right in front of the centre of the goal. This is a man who's been in really good form towards the end of last season, but Decore wasn't able to finish, sadly. And again, already 2 chances in. Not much time had actually gone in the game by that point. And then we had the situation with Iwobi, who looked a bit of a menace throughout this game. I thought he looked energetic, but be interested in your views. He basically shot. It hit the left hand side. He cut inside as he always does, and then it hit the left hand side, just to the right of the keeper. But it was an impressive break, and Iwobi was basically tormenting the Fulham defence at that point. Everton doing better. They didn't have a lot of possession. Fulham had the majority of the ball, but Iwobi had really a great amount of space, but he was great dribbling with it as well. And he was also able to find colleagues or get a shot in. So all in all, Everton started quite brightly, and they were certainly containing Fulham, who had more of the ball. But both sides were knocking the ball quite well, keeping possession, but then obviously trying to snap at it and to try and get the sort of high press going and get possession back. But then there's a controversial moment, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But basically, Keane gets a goal. But I think Tarkowski in that situation, the ball goes up, but Tarkowski is just standing his ground. And I think that the VAR has kind of said that, he was, well, they haven't overruled the on-field decision, which is basically that there's a push. But I think if you look back, you'll see that was a very, very hard done by. That was, I'm extremely frustrated by that, because I think that Fulham were very, very fortunate at that point to go in at 0-0 at half-time. And certainly an eventful half, but one that you feel that Everton should have gone in 1-0, and you just don't, in this league, you just don't get that many golden edge chances. So when you're hard done by that and you sort of squander the Decore chance like we did, you just wonder, is it going to be your day? Anyway, second half, Jimenez, he hits a post. It really was a brilliant effort. The ball comes in from the right-hand side, but he sort of is going away from goal, Jimenez. This is at the park end, and he sort of catches it really nicely, considering the position he was going in. It was an awkward chance. Pickford had no chance. It was going down to his right-hand side, but Everton were saved by the post. Then Fulham had a bit of a scare with Mitrovic, he only just comes on for Jimenez at that point. Then sort of midway through the game, 66 minutes, that is your oh my God moment, because Patterson, he misses probably one of the biggest chances we'll have this season. You just know it. We'll still be talking about that Patterson chance. Hopefully it won't count, but when you have things like that, over the season, the first game it's on paper, it's as important from a points point of view. It just probably doesn't feel like that right now, but we know Everton aren't going to win many games, and we know that if we are going to win, they're going to be really narrow, and we're going to need to take our chances, and that's why I'm so frustrated. What happens is it's another Iwobi shot, actually, and the keeper's down on the floor, and the way Patterson does it, I mean, he's not a striker, I accept that, but he catches it with his shin, and the goal's at his mercy, and that should have been 1-0 to Everton, and that would have, that might have changed the way that Everton approached the game. We're fairly expansive and open, considering. But anyway, smashed off the bar at the Gladys Street, and the groans after that. It was just one of those moments. Then a couple of minutes later, Wilson has a shot, and it is a nice run, but it was skying over. It was it was one of those that it was kind of always rising. I don't think Pickford was in an amazing, wasn't. It had a good chance of going in, but I think Pickford wasn't going to get beaten from that sort of distance. Then Danjuma comes on. He makes his debut, which is always very exciting. But just shortly after that, that's when Bobby Decoro Reid puts the visitors in front, and Cottagers basically were kind of riding their luck to that point. And the ball comes in the back post, and it's really a tap in. It's a bit of an overload, really, from Fulham, and Everton sort of really caught out Pereira with the cross, I believe, and it's a really nice play from them. He gets put in and sort of he's in the penalty area, crosses it across, and then Reid smashes it in, and we knew it was coming. We knew that Everton would eventually succumb to a Fulham chance or goal when we squandered our own chances. And as much as we pushed and we kept the same sort of philosophy that had stood us good for most of the game, in the end, it wasn't enough. And 6 minutes of added time added on for the goal and obviously for time wasting that they do now has really it meant that we just didn't have enough in the tank to get another chance. I mean, it was just chance after chance. I mean, they're a summary. That's not even all the chances, as you know. There are far more. But I'm going to go through the comments because we're all frustrated and we're all entitled to a view. Emma says, "Hi, Emma." Hi, Steve. I'm not sure what to say. Well, hopefully I've said a few bits, but it is hard when you come on after a Blues defeat and you've got to keep a straight face and it's hurting. But it's we've seen it so many times, but you just Raymond, I think you're right. It wasn't all that bad, was it? The performance of the game was one where you've got to actually be proud. If you'd said Everton won 3-0 today, you would say that was a superb performance. But because we've gone losing 1-0, it's a different spin that you'll put on the game because you would otherwise say that Everton played really well. Sad. Hi, Sad. Same old Everton. Yes, is the same old Everton, but they're losing by a goal to 0. We're not getting beat by a country mile. We don't look exposed defensively, not in that game, and we had chances. So I did, I sort of did agree that the result is the same, but the manner in which we've lost today was unfortunate. And on another day, we could have won 4-1. So anyway, we want your comments. If you like the video, if you like the channel, please tell your mates, subscribe. We'll be going live before and after every game, as well as midweek. We do want you to be involved, so please get involved as much as possible. And we will be reading out your comments. Blues just coming out, obviously, of Goodison Park, as Everton have gone down today by a goal to 0. We don't know where DCL is today, but there was a suspicion that Deitch might have been bluffing and that he might have been ready. That wasn't the case. He wasn't fit and didn't start. I can't speak for exactly the nature of what's going on, but it's frustrating. And we know, Everton had, as Roman, you're right, good afternoon. I mean, we had all summer to sign a striker and to prevent ourselves starting with Neil Maupay. And we've gone again. We do have a striker has landed, but, without the chance to embed. And I think I said it on this stream that we'll probably sign someone with a day before the window ends or something and no time to bed in. But Prince Rupert. Yeah, great to have football back. Yeah, been trying to avoid it myself, but, you can only watch cricket for so long. Keane up front next game. Well, he does always look a bit of a threat, but no, we need to be sticking by this because I think that that there's a makings of a better squad. They have flushed out some of the weaker players, but it is there, as Ryan says. Neil Maupay, he did have a really strong chance. It was kind of his own making right at the beginning. That could have changed it. We've had the sitters from Duquesne with Keane. I mean, all of these chances we've gone over. Obviously, we had the Danjuma chance in the park end. How many? Very good points, Ryan. It's how many? How many chances do we need to put one away? And you just felt like maybe if one went in, they all go in. Regular Cavan says he's pissed off, heart full of chances. It's just too many, far too many. 6-1. Yeah. I mean, I make it as probably at least 4-1. And then obviously we've got the VAR business again. It's whether it's anti-Everton, I don't know. It's just not right. I just don't know who's watching it. But I do think we're really hard done by in that sense because, if you look at that chance, and it'll be on Match of the Day again, you'll see that there was very, very little in it. But for me, the Patterson chance was the one because it was wide open at the Gladys Street. The keeper's on the floor. He just has to tap it anywhere below the crossbar. It's in the net, and that puts us 1-0 up, and it just changes the game, the game at that point. I think, we don't want to catastrophize at this point. Hi, Gatlin. I do appreciate your views. I think that I disagree with what you're saying because I don't think Dyche's his style is necessarily going to get us relegated. I think it's just the fact that we haven't got that clinical finisher. And I'm sure that we get McNeil in, who was our top scorer last season, and bad in the new guy. And then you've got a chance of doing that. And DCL, we know we won't be playing all the games. Michael, hi, good afternoon. He thinks that the referee was poor. Yes, I think the decision was poor, but overall, the game itself probably didn't warrant a particularly bad refereeing performance. It was just, Everton's kind of lack of clinical finishing as much as anything that has cost us here. And, it's a sucker punch, but maybe it's one that's just a bit of a reminder for us that, we don't really need one. But if we ever needed one, then you look at a game like this, whether they replay and watch this a million times or not, I'm sure that it will be mentioned that Dyche will say that we had decent chances and we could have won the game. And that's what's frustrating is that we still haven't got that clinical scorer. Do we get in someone? Was it anyone's fault, by the way? Decora Reid at that, 73 minutes, the goal goes in. We're a bit stretched out. Why did we concede the goal? Why do you think we conceded the goal? I think there was some good play, build up from Fulham. Sometimes you just got to hold up and you say, if someone makes a good move like that and puts you through, and then the cross comes in and they're in the box, you got to say that, that's sometimes like you've got to accept that. That's good play, forward play from them. But it's just the same old, isn't it? Really. In terms of the result, it's just a sucker. Mopay should have had hi, Mr. Blue Skies, regular from previous seasons. Great to have you back. Good to see everyone here. Of course, we'd like to be celebrating Everton's win, but on this occasion, of course, we've gone down again. Mopay should have had a hat trick. Patterson missed a sitter. There were chances. There were more chances than a 4-hour game of Monopoly. It was absolutely ridiculous the amount of chances Everton need to put the goal in. But maybe it was just one of those days. As I said at the top of the show, this is a game where Everton will play worse than this and probably win this season. And we need to accept that. The Blues is with me. He says, how can you moan about Dyche's football after that? We should have smashed them. Absolutely. Look, Fulham were in the game. They played a decent away game performance, had a lot of the ball in the first half, and did create some good chances. I think their firepower is kind of almost a contrast of Everton's with, Jimenez and then obviously Mitrovic and then him getting injured. And it's just like they've got all this firepower, which we don't have. But ultimately, I'm sure that their game plan would be to try and nick it 1-0 or come try and get a point from Goodison. But if you're watching a Fulham fan, what did you think of Everton today? Can you look at it through the other lenses? Because we're obviously mainly looking at through blue tinted lenses, and it's sometimes very difficult to commend your opposition's performance during that, especially when you miss chances. But yeah, am I upset? Of course I'm upset. It's really disappointing. Angry, upset, angry with the decision, upset at the fact we can't put a chance away. Yeah, it's just it just highlights the fact that we need the striker. We would have probably won the game comfortably with a clinical striker. But what can you say? Harry Kane's gone to Munich. I don't think he looked twice at us. And joking apart, I just think that Everton will go forward and take some confidence from this into the next game, because I think although Villa away won't be an easy game, Everton's approach play did look a lot better than it has on previous seasons, and our ability to play counter-attacking football is there. You're looking at some players that look sharp. Mike says we've dropped 3 points. It's normal, and I woulda, coulda, shoulda, but it's all BS. I think, yes, you can say that. You've got to take chances in a game of football, and that's what Everton didn't do, and that's why we kind of maybe deserve to lose. We don't deserve on performance, but if you don't take chances, that's it. That's all that matters, really. Everton obviously starting with Mopé up front, who hasn't really found the net in the Blues shirt, and John Jones. Thanks, JJ. I mean, look, I think that we know the situation with the strikers, but that shouldn't reflect the fact that we've got to work with the resources we've got, and there were chances there for the other players, and you can't just depend on your number 9. And maybe even if Calvert-Lewin played today, we still might have had the same chances, and we still might have kind of managed to miss them. I actually think that the Patterson chance was probably harder to miss. But yeah. Whew. Take a breath, Blues. Everton have gone down again. If you just come out of Goodison, I want your thoughts. And with members of our team still coming out of the ground, you know how bad signals are. It can be quite difficult to get on. But yeah. Flash says Decore, the donkey, get him on, get him gone. Bit controversial that. Decore played really well last season towards the end, and kind of, I think he single-handedly kept us in the league. So, everyone's entitled to an opinion. Dyche is going to play Mopé every game until he gets sacked. Again, catastrophizing JT's mid. I know you're a regular, but I know you're angry as well. Look, we're all angry. We're all disappointed. We're flat. We're pissed off. But, Mopé will not be playing every game. And I don't think Dyche, please quote me on this, will be sacked. Dyche is going to get Everton through to the end of the season. And I think Everton are going to finish midway through the second half. So I think Everton will be fifth. I'll stick by the 15th that I said. I'm not going to change it now. I can't. Yeah, I mean, look, TCC. We've said it. Chance after chance after chance after chance. Kind of got, you'd run out of note paper if you're making notes on all the chances that Everton have had. So obviously, if you just got in, or you've not seen the other scores, I'll just go back through them quickly. Arsenal beating Forest 2-1 in the early kickoff. Forest played quite well towards the end and pinned back Arsenal, who probably could have got back into the game, to be fair. Especially if you're looking out for Forest to be one of the teams that Everton will be up against near the bottom, as I expect. That might not be the worst result. Bournemouth, I can't even believe we're saying that with one game in. Bournemouth 1, West Ham 1. Again, maybe not the worst result. Brighton 4, Luton 1. Again, I think that's not a bad result for Everton. Then Sheffield United and Palace 1-0 to the visitors. And then Newcastle play Villa. Should be a bit tasty a bit later on if you're doing it. Personally, I'm not. I'm just going to take the little one out. And probably get a bit of air, fresh air. Because, it's frustrating. You kind of watch Everton, you expect more, and then you get your hopes up, and then they're kind of brought down like a lead balloon. JJ again, any team, even League Two, can easily pass out on midfield. It's been like that for years. Yeah, I mean, look, there is an element of that, but Everton did restrict the number of chances that Fulham had, which were fewer than Everton had. And, there were 2 or 3, but Everton had the better of the chances. That boy's with us on the Dyche out. We surely can't be on that already, guys. Come on. One game in, a performance that, probably upstaged most of the last 2 years. without our leading scorer from last year, McNeil, and without our number 9 striker. And we're kind of already calling ahead. I think we can do better than that. Sam Stanley, good afternoon. Club is pathetic, an absolute mess. So embarrassed to be an Everton fan. I'm not, because I think that Everton are improving. Been gradually improving, and they've got rid of some of the dead wood. They've moved out players from the team that did not set the standard as far as Everton Football Club is concerned. And yes, we've missed chances today, and yes, we haven't secured the players in the transfer market that we wanted, but this was generally a well-stitched performance. Yes, we let in a goal towards the end, but we created chances. We had possession. We broke well. We kept the ball when we needed to. We pressed. We didn't look slow and lethargic. I mean, you just had to compare that to some of the performances that we would comment from last season, and it's kind of chalk and cheese. And please let me know if you're seeing the game in a completely different light, because I didn't sit next to any Evertonian other than our fan group, really, on running this channel. Yeah, TC says we will not be relegated. Thank you for reminding me that. I agree. I think that Everton won't be relegated this season, but it's not something that we should be taking lightly. There is a threat of that. It's one game in, and there's a way to go. Yeah, there's a lot of people jumping on the Silva out coach diet. Are you kidding me? We should have scored 6. Yeah, I think Silva, his game plan was good today, but ultimately I thought Dyche was the smarter manager, and if you were giving me the choice, I would have Dyche as my manager. So yeah, we were robbed to a certain degree because of the smash and grab nature of the victory. It wasn't so late that we couldn't have got back in the game, but it was late enough. And it hurt. You know, we still had 20 minutes. We could have still gone at it, but I just felt like it was a bit of a blow. Yeah, I mean, John Jones, maybe you saw something I didn't see. Players laughing and joking after the game. Look, the performance was there. I didn't see what you're referring to. Perhaps other Blues have switched off quicker than you could probably say, hey, presto. But yeah, it pretty much was an important 3 points, because you got to get the season off well, and the Blues have already been defeated. So, you know, the unbeaten record didn't last very long, let's face it. RK says, you take a 4-3 match. Maybe we need Martinez as our manager. Pretty much that would be the result if the chances went in, really. And Everton had 4 clear ones that I've got. I've got Decore in the centre, where the keeper makes a save, but he probably should have played in Garn, I think, on the right-hand side, and then he could have just slotted home. Then we've got the Keane finish. Tarkowski gets penalised. It was seriously unfortunate for Everton, and Fulham got away with murder there, basically. And then the Patterson shot, which basically hit the bar, and then Danjuma also had a shot over the bar. I mean, look, there was chances galore. You could probably count more, 6 or 7, but didn't take a single one of them, and that's all that matters. Rowan's very harsh in saying the team deserves relegation. There were 3 teams that were worse but worse than Everton last season. And for that reason, we probably did deserve relegation, Rowan. I agree with you. We did deserve relegation, but we didn't get it because we just got such a good fan base, able to create the atmosphere, able to get players in, able to get away with murder on the last day. Please do not leave us till the last day of the season, Everton. I will kill you if you do that. We've had too much stress. John says we're a counter-attacking team. Well, we have become a bit of a counter-attacking team. It would be interesting to see whether that's something that we can keep up. I'm happy personally if Everton have 20-25% of the possession and then win 1-0. But I want McNeil back because he was the top scorer last season, and he looked a constant threat towards the end of the season with the core there. And I'd also like to see what it looks like with Calvert-Lewin, Decore, McNeil, and some of the new players that we kind of brought in. I think Garner now has got his place on the right side, and then obviously Ashley Young is getting in ahead of Mikalenko, What did you think of that, guys? What did you think of the defenders today? The shape of Everton? Did you think that that was a good starting lineup? Do you think that that had anything? I mean, look, they created chances. So how can you really put it down to poor formation? You can't really. Flash, the original, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. It's never easy after a defeat for any of us Everton fans. Silver's sub policy was superior. What did he order? BLT, or was it a tuna? But his policy, talking of course substitutions, was better. Well, yes, ultimately he won the game, so you could say that tactically he got it right. But I think that the reason why Everton didn't win today or get a point was because of poor finishing, really. And I really do appreciate everyone who's come on and commented, and I'm delighted to say that, you know, coming out of Goodison probably with a face about as cross as I have is going to be very angry. Jan, the Viking man himself. Jan.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Hello, everybody.
Well, if you get a chance to watch this back, you'll know that I'm bitterly angry, frustrated, pissed off, but also kind of refreshed by the fact that Everton created chances and looked like a footballing team that weren't as lethargic as they'd been last season. Comments already coming in looking for the head of Dyche. I thought today was a good performance. Jan, over to you. What did you think?
Frustrating. It feels like a little bit of a return to normal emotionally, although the footballing was a lot better. Iwobi was very good. Defensively, we were solid apart from just those moments, those cock-ups where we really got punished. How we didn't capitalise on Mopé having a shot wide, and then the shot that he should have maybe gone for the top corner. I mean, it's all right me sitting here all lazy and saying, yeah, he should have done this, should have done that. You'd think any other team, and there's got to be a goal there. Patterson hoofs it and it hits the bar rather than side footing it into the net. It's so frustrating, so frustrating. But for me, the really frustrating thing, my mum went to the game today, and she'd not been for ages, and it's the first time she's been since my dad died, and it's been. She turned to me and said, "Why is the referee giving them everything for like contact?" And I don't know whether you guys saw it, and I don't know whether anyone who's watched it, or has seen a replay. But from where I was sat, not as close as a camera, it looked like the keeper jumped, put himself in the line of fire, and dropped the ball. How was that? And then they disallow the goal. So it's just so frustrating to be. And it's all well and good being a job's worth in the last 10 minutes and booking this player and that player. Every time he was taking a free kick or had the ball, and then twice he handled the ball off the goal line. It beggars belief. If you're going to be stricter, are you going to know the rules? I
think Jan, we could probably spend all night. There was an element where the referee did look a bit weak, especially for me, it all boils down to 3 or 4 chances, 3 big ones. Decore at the beginning. Yeah. He's through on the goal. He should play it to Garner. He slots in. He takes it himself. He's obviously got less of the goal to finish in. He should still put it in the net, but the keeper makes an outstretched save, I think, with his right leg.
Yeah, he should have maybe gone a bit higher. And there was a time when Mopé overplayed it and he brought himself closer to the goalie, and he should have just shot around that same kind of time as well, wasn't it, in the first half?
Don't you just love hindsight? Then after 35 minutes, we mentioned it already, I think Fulham get away with murder. The chance, the push or whatever they think it was on Tarkowski, he was just standing his ground. Have you seen the replay of it?
No, I haven't seen anything. I don't know if I refuse to engage because it's so frustrating to see wonderful moments of football where it's been. They linked up wonderfully, and it was Keane. Actually wasn't as calamitous, and Patterson and Young were actually a bit incisive, and we sort of withered in the game. And I don't know whether it was the consequences of not getting the rub of the green. But there was some wonderful play. Garner and Iwobi played fantastically, I thought. And then the decision to bring Danjuma on and then immediately concede. I don't know, people were saying it's too late. What was it, 72 minutes? I don't know about you, but people were saying, oh, Mope should have come off at half time. And I don't think I'm not going to be Mope bashing, but if it's not his day, sometimes I don't necessarily believe in luck. It's just the better you are and the more you try, it comes off. But it just, I'm frustrated.
We've seen with Mope, and we've seen, first of all, it's really great to see you back. Obviously, extremely difficult times, especially, you're going with your mum. I hope she's well. And my best wishes are with her as well as yourself. Of course, we've spoken before the season. I think today was better than I expected Everton to play. And I think what's disappointing, obviously, is that flat feeling that we've all been accustomed to. But the manner in which we've kind of gone down, it's really disappointing, to say the very least. That, for me, the big golden chance, if you were kind of stuck in a lift and explaining to someone what that game was like, and you've only got one stop, it's basically Patterson in the Gladys Street. I mean, the keeper's on the floor. It's probably easier to put the ball in the net than it is to put it over or on the bar, and he smashes it. He actually catches it with the wrong part of his foot, I think.
Doesn't matter.
He hits the bar, and that's it. Coleman would have put that away.
I think I'd have put that away.
And the least said about that, the better. And whichever way you look at it, I thought the Fulham goal was a good build-up. We will look at it through blue-tinted eyes, but they basically put Pereira nicely into the box. He crosses. We're kind of exposed. There's people on the comments saying we should have had Braithwaite. We should have had this. We wouldn't have conceded. You know what? We conceded one goal, but we should have scored 5.
But we didn't.
We didn't. Well, we said that already. What I don't agree with is the comments to call for Dyche's head, because I thought Everton played fairly, responsibly. Even after that goal, we didn't resort to long ball, because obviously we've got smaller players there at the moment.
It's frustrating as well that I thought for while he was on the pitch, Willian was their plan A, plan B, and plan C for most of it. Okay, Reid is a bit of a annoying. Not deckled over Reid, but Reid, the little number 6, the ginger bugger. But most of the time it was anything that was consistent pressure rather than a breakaway or an immediate rush towards our goal. A lot of stuff came through Willian, and he got a yellow card, and it seemed to be like a double-edged sword. He got a yellow card, but then he was immediately, or he was substituted.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. What would Lord Sugar do to Everton in this? Probably fire a lot of them. Anyway, Jack says, I don't think there'll be many days when Everton put forward the net. No, they won't. I can tell you that, hand on heart. But,
maybe own goals.
Yeah, I'm glad that Flash the Original says that he's enjoying the stream. Obviously, lots of Blues. We have hundreds, thousands of you coming on. Most people watch it back at home in the night as well. So people who are watching in the evening, hello. We've just come live straight after the whistle. We're flat as a pancake. Yeah, it takes a lot of guts to come on after the whistle. And it's even worse when you've been, I wasn't at Goodison today, but Jan was. You can see he's visibly upset as well. I've been angry, but we kind of got used to this. And I know that over 38 games that we can put enough points on the board to move up. And he's got rid of some of the crap. Anyway, back onto the game. Jimenez, he hit the post, didn't he? Pickford wasn't getting anywhere near that. That was quite early on in the second half, and that could have been Fulham 1-0. I mean, probably you could have said Fulham had at least 2-3 good chances. That was one of them from Jimenez, and he gets into the starting lineup above Mitrovic, which sums up the embarrassment of Rich as compared to us. Well, I would have both of them in our starting lineup.
I did suspect that Jimenez would play. I was surprised to see Mitrovic on the team sheet, but he came on and immediately wanted a substitution. Didn't get substituted. But I was, to be honest, I was a bit surprised that having missed all those chances, even in the first half, Fulham had a corner and it fell to, I don't know who it fell to, about 25 yards out or 20 yards out, and they took a shot. Oh, thank you, Amanda.
Yes, thank you very much to Amanda. Donations help us support the channel. They help us. We don't pocket them and then go to some posh fish and chip shop. We put them back into the channel.
That was very specific, Stevie. Like, where's this coming from?
I don't know. Maybe one of your poems, Jan. At least you make me laugh. Thank you, Amanda. Every penny that gets donated is used to buy tissues for the Everton. Yeah, for the Everton team that see neighbours buy players for 110 million and put tears on their stadium while we plead in poverty and players deciding to go to Atlanta rather than having a medical at Goodison. Anyway, enough about gibberish from me. I think we could be all mad for the whole season. Ryan, you there?
Hello, hi Steve.
Hiya. Not a good result, but performance was there today, Ryan.
Very good stream, guys. Absolutely superb, and thanks to everyone watching. I mean, I watched that from home today, so it was a different experience to go in the game. And I'm not notoriously known for being the most positive of Evertonians, having been alive for nearly 30 years and having seen us win nothing. But what I will say is that Everton were very good today. I thought we were by far the better team. And
he's gone.
I think we have lost Ryan there.
He is right. Unless I wasn't clear that he is right. My takeaway from that is the emotional takeaway of frustration, disappointment, and almost the sense of dread of what might be to come if we remain to be that unlucky and we don't have DCL back. Because
Sorry
we need.
I pressed the button by mistake. I think I muted myself. I was just saying that we were by far the better team, but we wasted so many chances, and the style of football was great. I mean, to say we were a counter-attacking team, someone said that before was unfair. We were very good on transition. We looked like scoring every time we robbed the ball off them high up the pitch or their attacks broke down. It was a clear ploy to invite Fulham on and then to do that. And of course, that led to Decore. He should pass it to Garner, as Stevie said. It's a blatant chance. You've got to score that. Neil Maupay had 2 clear chances. There was so many chances in that game. There was more chances than a game of Monopoly. I mean, Tarkowski headed wide, Keane headed directly at
You've nicked my comment there. I don't know whether you heard earlier, but you've nicked my analogy.
Very good. It's cut from the same cloth. Iwobi hit straight at the keeper from the back post. Danjuma blazed wide. Patterson, who I thought was the weak link in the team today, he hit the crossbar when it was easier to score. I mean, the finishing was disappointing, but the actual play when we were in transition was very good. And actually, when we had to try and push for a goal, probably for about 20, 30 minutes, apart from the stoppage time, which kind of fizzled out, we actually looked like creating a lot of chances. There was switch of play. There was penetrating route passes. There was wing play. It was a complete performance. It was an almost complete performance. It just lacked the goal. And you know what? It was absolutely predictable that we lost that 1-0, because if you don't take your chances, and the goal, I mean, come off it. The Garner's caught up the pitch. Patterson's caught up the pitch. The defenders are static. Fulham had one tactic: get it wide and pass around us when we pressed. And the goal came from just switching off and losing your man. And Dyche will be furious. But you know what? I'm not sitting here as annoyed as I could have been. I'd rather lose that way than lose playing pathetic. You know, we played well, and the true reflection of that game should have been 4-1, not accounting for the fact that the foul on the goalie that never was, that was a clear goal. He's just stood there. He can't move. It's never a foul. But there was a little bit of that from Fulham, you know, the Mitrovic feigning an injury for 5 minutes when Everton were getting on top of them. That was a clear ploy to break up a very dominant Everton team. And it just says a lot that Everton were so good.
Thanks, Ryan. That's good perspective on the goal. I've just put up the stats. Everton 41% of the ball. You're right about Everton. You know, the way that we lost this game, we can't take much comfort from a loss. But if we're gonna, as I said earlier on the stream, if we come out this with 3-0, we'll be like, oh, what a good performance. And yet we've got all these great players to come in, our top scorer, our lead striker, and our new striker. And we may even sign someone else. And yet we've come out and we've lost. And because of that, we have a completely different complexion on the game. You had 18 shots in the game, Jan. 18 shots. It's not hockey. It's football. 18 shots.
Even just a half competent striker, we'd have won that game 2-3-0 because the early goal goes in and the confidence lifts, and then everyone takes their chances because their mood and their confidence and their desire is there. But I think when the pressure's so high, when you've got people missing chances early, I think everyone then starts really not being clinical. Anyway, that's all I've got to add. I'll leave you two guys to crack on. You've been brilliant.
Thanks, Ryan. It's absolutely a pleasure to get Ryan's thoughts as he heads over to, I think he's got a gig in Wrexham. If he's at that gig and he has a sore face between his soul jazz and R&B and saxophone DJ, no shameless plugging there, then you know why. It's because Everton have gone down by 1-0. And if you just joined us, thank you. Where have you been for the last hour? We have been depicting and kind of
dissecting.
Dissecting. You're right, Jan. Trying to dissect. Why did Everton let
Everton
us down?
It up.
Why did Everton do an Everton?
Yeah.
No, they didn't do an Everton, Jan. This is the thing. Do you remember how many times last season we came on and we had the cloud of relegation, but we would come on, the performances weren't there, they were lethargic. They featured players that are no longer part of the club, fortunately. They also featured some players who were on the park today. They weren't showing up for the shirts, they were showing up for themselves, or they weren't showing up. And we certainly weren't getting 10 corners and 18 shots and 8 shots on target.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think that from here, Everton will take some heart going into the next game, that they look like a footballing team, not just a bunch of loonies on the pitch?
Well, I don't know. If I had eyes in the dressing room, I'd be posting in the know knowledge. I think it's very disheartening, though, playing football, playing like that, and not getting a result, not even scoring a goal and having it disallowed. You end up, it's like, it's just frustrating. Imagine yourself in any situation where you try to do everything that you need to do to get a job done, and it just doesn't pull off. Eventually you start to feel disheartened, and I don't know whether they've worked on that mentality over the summer. I hope they have. I hope they've worked on players' resilience, mental resilience. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite surprised that Mopé, as a person, still knows that he's got it in him to be a professional footballer, when he's gone so long without a goal, when everybody's on his back, when he's not the first choice and he keeps getting played, and it just, so he's got the right mentality, but whether he's got the ability, I don't know. Sorry,
Jan, do you summarize this game as being one where, but for the missed chances, everything was okay in terms of the performance, the way that the players committed to it, the lineups, the strength, the players in the right positions? Do you feel that Everton could have sat up differently with the resources they've got?
Well, I was surprised to have not seen a change earlier in the match when we'd missed those chances, when there looked to have been something just slightly lacking. Like, I'm not saying we were playing at 100%, but the ability in the match, it always seemed like maybe we could have brought Danjuma on earlier, or someone that was a more recognised winger to support. Garner played out. James Garner played out wide. And I agree. Atwell is a disgrace. It's just I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to suggest. I mean, there was nothing really majorly wrong. We just weren't pushing ourselves over the line. If that first goal would have been not disallowed, I mean, I don't know what. We'll have to wait and see what they say on Match of the Day.
Yeah, well, I think it's already on. I think you can probably get bits of highlights from Sky. I think they're open, these 3-minute highlight videos that you can pick up. If you've got the
Yeah, but
goals.
my interest would be to have the commentary around why
Yes.
that was
Yeah,
disallowed.
we'll do that once I've got JJ in bed. The general consensus of comments, we have had hundreds of comments, is that Everton played quite well today. There are a lot of calls for Dyche already, attacks towards him and not lasting. There are attacks towards Mopay, particularly. It's not his fault that he's been picked, is what I'm saying. He nearly scored. If he goes and scores that first goal, maybe we see a completely different player. But this was his chance to shine, I suppose. It's not easy when you're playing a lone striker role. He did break through, create a good chance through his own pace, and he pulled the shot wide. If that goes in off that right-hand post, he's left, smashes in, the crowd erupts. We're 48 seconds in the game, in the season, guys. That would be a bit of a changer. But it is what it is. Mark says the table. I don't look at the table at this stage of the season. I think if you look at the table now, it kind of like
I don't bother with the table until there's about 7 or 8 games played.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. Becky says, smash the like button. Of course, please smash the like button. We've grown the channel from a bunch of Everton fans who were bored in lockdown and had the Follow Everton brand since, I think, about 2008, around the sort of Cahill Arteta time, which was run just as basically like a news fan site. And we started to launch this sort of concept of these post-match videos, which were a great chance to vent. And we've just gone past, I think, we're coming up to 2,500 subscribers. We want to get to 5,000 by the end of this year. And our overall target will be to have as many subscribers as there are bums in seats in Bramley Moor. So that'll be about 5 people. No, in all honesty, of course, it'll be the hottest ticket in time. So if you can help spread the word, tell 2 mates, if everyone does that, we'll be close to our yearly target. And that is what we're going to be looking at this season. And we may even report on that. Who knows? It may be more interesting than some of Everton's performances. Look, there's so much to go through. We've been live nearly an hour. We do appreciate every comment. There'll be more from Follow Everton tomorrow, and we'll be going through Everton's player performances and, of course, more match reaction as we get interviews and player reaction. And then, of course, there'll be reaction and pre-build up towards Everton's clash next Sunday at 2:00 with Aston Villa. That's the Blues' first away task of the season. And you'll definitely get all of the reaction to this match and then the build up towards our match at Villa Park. It's also on Sky Television, I believe, a 2:00 kickoff next Sunday. And there's a lot to take from today that Everton can build on for this season. If that is the first performance and is also the game that we play without our out-and-out strikers, then maybe there is going to be a lot more to come from the Blues. But, stay positive, everyone. We need to stay together. That's what got us over the line last season. I'm sure that in due course, you can get more from the rest of our team. And as I said, we'll be live again, probably before the end of the weekend, to summarize our thoughts when it's not so raw and to bring more light to the situation. But from now, from Jan, from me, from us watching here at Follow Everton, I hope you have a good evening. Up the Toffees.
See you, everyone.